This is That Guy Jig Sports Podcast. I am him, JIG. Subscribe, rate, and review Amazon, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. Check us out, and don't forget about the Instagram at That Guy Jig. But see, the playoffs are moving. We're here. These games count. Where pretty much everyone has played 2 games. We're wrapping up the game ones right now tonight. OKC Thunder and the Pelicans, Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. Both of those series, in my opinion, should be over in 5 games, maybe even 4. But when we go to the main dish, when we start talking about stakes, when we start talking about what's looking like a good matchup, there are some out there. The Pacers and Bucks and the Dallas Mavericks and the Clippers are doing what we expected, splits. Now, this is where it gets dangerous for the Bucks without Giannis. How do they respond? Now you go on the road. You don't have that home support. You kind of felt like they would have that type of explosive game one. Maybe not 35 in the first half by Dame Lillard, but you kind of knew that the city would rally around the players and the players would answer the call. And that's what they did. Game 2 reality kind of set in that guy is not there. When you don't have your unstoppable and you're used to having your unstoppable, eventually you start to see the effects. And that's what you saw. That's exactly what you saw in Game 2. So now the Bucks are going to probably, I would say Giannis does not come back until Game 4, maybe Game 5. If they win Game 3, then he'll probably relax. But if they lose Game 3 and they're on the brink of not splitting, I can see him suiting up Game 4. I don't see him playing Game 3. So when you look at that series, this series could take a pivotal point at Game 3. Game 3s are very pivotal. And you can see why. The Pacers can honestly take that next step and put the pressure on the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, we all know I have the Milwaukee Bucks going as a healthy scratch this year. New coach, new players, just too much new shit, and you got to get rid of some of your old stuff. Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton, and Bobby Portis cannot be in a Milwaukee Bucks uniform next year if they really want to compete. They just can't. I understand they won a championship with them, but Drew Holiday was a focal point, and you got rid of him. So why are these 2, maybe 3, untouchable? If Drew Holiday can go, the rest of them can go. And when you look at the Mavericks and the Clippers series, the Mavericks split. Now they're going back to Dallas. Now this is where James Harden kind of disappears in the playoffs when the pressure gets put on. And the pressure is about to be on. Like I've said, they've played great defense in Dallas as of late. The score was 96-93, and yes, it is still 2024. But they play a little defense now down there in Dallas. They've done it for the past couple of months, and they are continuing it. And when you start to do this, you start to put pressure on those Clippers. Is James Harden going to answer the call? Kawhi Leonard came back. I personally think the offense kind of moves a little bit better with Kawhi out of there just because everybody's touching the ball. When you have Kawhi, you know Kawhi has to get his touches, and that's just a superstar. And I know that sounds crazy, but I'm saying is that offensive game plan, the offense moves better. Everybody touches the ball better. I know they're not better without Kawhi Leonard. I'm not crazy. But what I'm telling you is the offense seems to move a little bit better. So how will it continue to move? Will Kawhi continue to be healthy? We know how he likes to be. We know how his knee has been over the last couple years. It's been hampering, but when Kawhi Leonard plays, guess what? He wins championships. He's one of those players that just has a knack for winning. But now we start looking at the Monday game. The Magic did what we thought they were going to do. Young team, not ready. They don't have a superstar that they can truly rely on. They have great players. They have a good blooming superstar in Paolo, but not a true star yet. And it shows. So the Cavaliers should sweep this series. I can see the Magic getting a game at home. They still have that opportunity to split. They still do have that right to split. Now, the 76ers in this Knicks series, the Nuggets and the Lakers, and the Suns and the Timberwolves, these are 3 different stakes. These are 3 different stakes. And what I mean by that, I mean filet mignon. These are steaks. And each one of these steaks are now in the fire. One of them is medium rare, one of them is medium, and one of them is medium well. And that's what I'm saying as far as what this game means. When you look at the Timberwolves and the Suns, this series is medium well. This steak is going to be good, but then you're going to get some of that non-pink part, which you boot eaters like. But we steak eaters don't like the boot. The boot is not for us. But when you play like the Phoenix Suns, when you don't have a true point guard, when you listen to Twitter, when you listen to people who don't know the game and they tell you it's a positionless league and you don't need a point guard, look at the Phoenix Suns. Look at this steak. Look at this beautiful steak that was marinated, that was seasoned properly, that had a nice bask, like a nice butter and basil or whatever you like. Just imagine this steak. You're just looking so great, and then you cut it open, and it's medium well. Well, that is the Phoenix Suns. They are a medium well steak. That's what this fire has done to them. It's almost over. Don't worry, we're about to put it out. If the Timberwolves, which I think they will be able to split in Phoenix, if they split in Phoenix, this is over when they go back to Minnesota. I don't believe the Suns will be successful. I've said this before. This is the worst excuse of a super team that I've ever seen. They went chasing waterfalls. They went after it all. You gotta give them that. They gave it their all. But when you look at a team that was just in the NBA Finals, I don't think we've seen something just slowly but surely, this fire just slowly get put out. We have seen the sunset. We are watching it set. Once KD leaves this summer, once he forces his way off of another roster, we will truly see the sunset. This experiment of Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Yusuf Nurkic, and Grayson Allen and Devin Booker has been nothing but a failure. If I told you that Devin Booker and Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal did anything less than the conference semifinals, it's a failure. And yes, it's their first year together, but this was something that was supposed to be an immediate impact, and it was supposed to work. They went out and got Frank Vogel, who has been nothing but a terrible coach that got put in a great situation with the Lakers for a few years. He's nothing more than at his best, he's subpar. At the best, he's par. At his very, very best, I'll give him par. He's an average coach. But you give me Frank Vogel coming out of retirement, and you're telling me Frank Vogel is going to get those three guys to buy into a defensive-oriented system when all these guys know is shoot, pull up, mid-range, dribble, mid-range. It's actually fascinating to watch them play basketball. It's fascinating to watch the Minnesota Timberwolves slowly grow a 20-point lead. It's fascinating watching Jaden McDaniels go off for 25 points against this team. You know, the one thing the Timberwolves can't do consistently is score. I'm talking about from three and just consistently put pressure on you scoring. The Timberwolves, they struggle with this. But the Phoenix Suns are making them look like an offensive juggernaut and a defensive just straight Loch Ness monster. Don't cross this bridge. When in reality, the Phoenix Suns are just as bad, folks. Kevin Durant will be leaving. Kevin Durant will find himself on a better roster, one of those rosters that are, young and just missing. Thunder, the OKC Thunder. I've heard rumors. He has commercials. He's always said he has love for the city. Because right now we got to free Durant because this steak is medium well. It's getting close to well done, folks. And once you hit medium well, once you're in medium well in my book, you are a boot eater. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel. Don't be upset about how I feel. But when I look at the Suns, they are a medium well done steak. And it's almost time to take them off the fire because it's almost it. Now, I said there was a medium steak. That medium stake is the Los Angeles Lakers. They are down 2-0 once again to the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets now have won 10 straight games versus the Lakers. And what was so fascinating about this last win for the Nuggets, they were down by 20 points. With 8 minutes left in the third, they were down by 20. What's fascinating about this win for the Nuggets is that they shot 23% from three. D'Angelo Russell made more three-pointers almost than the whole team of Denver. Outside of a couple of players, we're looking at a team that shot 23% and still found a way to win. That's what it's about. Michael Porter Jr. and Nikola Jokic were the only ones to make threes. Porter made 6 and Jokic made 2. Aaron Gordon was 0 for 2. Jamal Murray was 0 for 5. KCP was 0 for 4. Peyton Watson 0 for 2. Justin Holiday 0 for 1. Reggie Jackson 0 for 3. Christian Braun 0 for 3. They shot 23% from three-point line and still figured out a way to win against a team that shot 48% overall and 43% from the three-point line. Like I said, D'Angelo Russell made 7 threes. The Denver Nuggets made 8. And if I tell you this, it sounds like the Lakers won. No, they found a way to lose. Darvin Ham Sandwich, he is going to be coaching in Beijing after this. I hope you know China, my friend. I hope you know Chinese, my friend. I hope you know Chinese. And listen, like I said, I hope you know China. I hope you know the layout of China because you're about to be there. This is probably one of the worst performances I've seen when you have two superstars like Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Darvin Ham has been nothing but terrible for the Los Angeles Lakers. And I hate to say it. I hate to be that guy, but the guy's terrible. He's getting out-coached, and it doesn't help that the Lakers overall don't have the better roster. You see what I'm saying? They're actually in an uphill battle. The Denver Nuggets are the better team. 1 through 5, they are the better team. They have the better coach, and they have the better GM. They're the better organization right now. This is just an uphill battle, but the one thing you can't have is just stupidity. You can't change what you're doing with Anthony Davis that's been working for the first 3 quarters, but on the fourth quarter, we're going to change it up. We're going to guard Nikola Jokic this way, but then in the fourth quarter, we're going to do this. And shout out to Austin Reeves, man. The guy's battling. He's guarding Jamal Murray, who is literally, statistically speaking, the best player in the playoffs. When it comes from regular season to playoff jump, no one is better than Jamal Murray. He statistically has the biggest gap of performance. That's what he does. He lives for the playoffs. Everybody wants to talk about playoff Jimmy. What about playoff Murray? What about playoff Mitty Murray? Because let me tell you something. He is a different type of animal in the playoffs. So it's a medium stake for me because they have LeBron James. You take LeBron James off of this team, they are the same stake as the Phoenix Suns. But since they have GOAT James, I have nothing but respect for the man, and I understand that he's going to come out Game 3 in LA. You will see a look similar to what he had when he played for the Miami Heat and he played Boston in that Game 6. That pivotal Game 6 that pretty much kick-started the one where he dunked on Jason Terry, I'm pretty sure. Watch out. He's going to be – I can see him being very aggressive. We're going to see a very aggressive LeBron James because he understands what's the task at hand, what needs to be done. And what needs to be done, they have to figure out a way to win both of these games. You can't split because you can't win in Denver. So if you split, it's over. I can tell you that right now. If the Nuggets get a game in LA, when it comes back to Denver, they will close it out. It will be a 4-1. Denver wins. See ya. Blow the roster up. See ya, D'Lo. See ya, Austin Reeves. And that's what's so crazy about this Laker team. And this is what makes me think Laker fans have some type of Stockholm syndrome. Is because you're abused. You're abused all throughout the regular season. This roster's not good enough. This roster's not good enough. We're going to make changes. We're going to make changes. They try to trade everybody. They tried to trade D'Angelo Russell to every single team in the NBA. Nobody wanted him for anything. For anything. You even put a first-round pick attached to it. Nobody wanted D'Angelo Russell. Nobody wanted Austin Reeves. So now you're going to try to sell this back to your team, to your fans, and say, hey, this team's going to compete. And you Laker fans get in my face. You guys comment, call me, text me, talk that humbug. And then when the game comes on, it's right there, silence. At the end of the game, when the clock hits 0-0-0, I hear nothing but silence. And I feel bad for you at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, you just don't have a good enough roster. They tried to trade this whole roster. Remember this. Don't forget, when we put faith in D'Angelo Russell, that D'Angelo Russell was on the trade block. Don't forget this. And this is the team that you are looking to try to get out of this 2-0 hole in. Well, good luck. Like I said before, Nuggets in 5. And that's out of respect for the LeBron James. I truly do believe it'll probably be Nuggets in 4. I think Game 2 and Game 3, the Lakers will give their best shot. I just don't think it's going to land a shot. I don't think the Nuggets will shoot 23% again from 3. I don't believe that will happen again. So I do believe the next time this game, I see the Nuggets winning a little bit. But last game, the game that I said is kind of still savable. The 76ers versus the Knicks. The only reason I say this is because if Joel Embiid is going to continue to play, which he is clearly going to continue to try to force it and play, which I think, I've said it before, I think he needs to sit out and get healthy, because you're not going to win a championship this year. No matter how many games you come back and beat the old Knicks, you're not going to win a championship this year. So what I truly believe needs to be done is rest. But since they don't want to listen to that guy Jig, they don't want to listen to JIG. They don't want to listen to JIG. This is what they're going to play him. And he's going to battle it out. This is still savable. I think in Philly they're going to get Game 3. And I honestly do think they'll get Game 4. I think this goes back to New York, 2-2, where New York was going to have to figure out how to stop momentum. Jalen Brunson is shooting about 30% when he plays the 76ers, which means they know how to guard him, they know how to affect him, and they know what he wants to do. The New York Knicks do not have a consistent second option. Similar to how I judge the Milwaukee Bucks in the sense of how they don't have a third option, and how I, judge the Lakers, they don't have a third option, and et cetera, et cetera. The Knicks don't even have a second option. Julius Randle being out was so huge that he got that season-ending shoulder surgery. It was so huge because now they effectively don't have a true number 2 scorer. They have to do it in bulk. They have to do it as a system. They have to do it with everybody pitching in and doing their part. So as long as Jalen Brunson is struggling, this series is still open. And look for the 76ers to start exploiting that. The game where Tobias Harris has 15 points, along with Maxey and Embiid going for 30, because it doesn't look like anybody's going to stop them for New York. So with both of these guys going for 30, you give 15 points from Tobias on a good, efficient shooting and rebounding. This is going to get very interesting for the Knicks. Because like I said, your best scorer has a tough time scoring against this team. So if your best player can't do what he needs to do best in a sport that requires scoring, we're going to have a problem. This series is a lot closer than what people think. It is not 2-0. It's more like 1-1. And I think after the 76ers win tomorrow night, make it 2-1, I think they're going to be able to get another one and make it 2-2. Out of all 3 of these series, this is why I say this is a medium rare steak. This is a still good steak. This is the steak you throw right in the fire. You try to be fancy and you try to cook it like a chef. You throw it right in the fire, and then you kind of you're kind of like over cautious because it's directly on the fire. But no, my friend, it's only cooking on the outside. It's not cooking on the inside. You're just getting that nice, beautiful char, that crunch. So out of all 3 of these series, if there is a team that I believe that can come back, it is 110% the 76ers and tie it up. Just because Jalen Brunson's struggling to score the ball, and the Knicks don't truly have a second option. They have a second option by committee, and I can respect that. I can respect every last bit of it. But the committee they have, is that committee a reliable committee? We will find out. But like I said, the playoffs are heating up. We're almost to where everybody's in the Game 2, about to get to Game 3. And this is when the games start getting less of a break. More back-to-back every other night. Because that's the part about the playoffs. It's the fatigue. It's the stamina. You got to want this shit. You got to want to be amongst the greats in mortality. It's the race to 16. And there's teams that need 14 more wins. And I just need you to subscribe. And this is That Guy Jig Sports Podcast. I am him, JIG. Thanks for listening. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Subscribe to the Instagram or follow on the Instagram, whatever it is. But here we go. This is That Guy Jig Sports Podcast. Thanks for listening. Peace.